Yes, ma'am. I'm just here supporting my husband. When it did happen, some things I did lie about. He was trying to leave the house when we got like in a little argument, but I didn't want him to leave. So I did call the police and I lied about him doing the things that he did.
Okay, so let me ask you something, Brittany. Did you go to the hospital that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a broken arm?
Yes, ma'am.
So how in the world would she get you mixed up with somebody else?
I have a twin brother.
You have a twin brother?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I say, all her sisters and stuff, that her two sisters come running up on me, grabbing hammers and knives against me. So I'm just like, man, I'm just like, I'm trying to get out the house, but they blocking me in the house. I ain't hear nothing else about it, but later on in life, all I know, I got a warrant for a battery charge.
Because she was hitting herself, and I held her down and I calmed her and I loved her and kissed her and put her to bed and held her.
Bruising around both eyes, cut lip, some blood, and some swelling. Does all that, how did she get that?
She beat up herself. How do you think she got that bruising on her face?
She got I found this out later after the fact about her son hitting her later on earlier that day. I ain't know nothing about that. No, sir. I really don't believe in putting my hands on female. And I ain't just trying to say it like this, but I'm really like a handsome guy. I don't feel like I gotta go through that with females to keep a female around and all that extra stuff to do that. I wasn't raised that way.
Well, buckle up because we are about to see a series of revocation hearings that all have one theme in common. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. Let's jump
over security. All right. Okay, today we're here for Jervarius Davis revocation hearing. Mr. Davis, I'm gonna read violations to you. You're to plead guilty or not guilty with or without a statement. Then we will conduct the interview and see what happened, and then we will vote.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so say your name and DOC number, please, Mr. Davis.
Jamar Davis, DLC number 702-198.
Okay, Mr. Davis, it is alleged you violated, okay, Mr. Davis, do you have your questionnaire with you? Your parole questionnaire?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you want to proceed today without an attorney?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Davis, it is alleged you violated condition number 4 in that you committed battery of a dating partner on or about July 29th, 2024 in Caddo Parish. How do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty.
All right, and it's also alleged that you violated condition number 10 and that you're $650 behind on your supervision fees. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
All right, Mr. Davis, your case has been assigned to me. Mr. Davis, I'm going to tell you, I looked at all of the reports and I also looked at the camera footage. So tell the truth today, because I'll tell you, if I think you're lying to me, it's not going to end well.
Yes, sir.
All right, so tell the whole truth. First off, tell me what happened between you and the lady you were dating that day.
Man, we were really outside the apartment. We were arguing. We were arguing since last night because I really had got caught cheating at the same time. So when the daytime come, before I was about to get ready and go to work, she lingered around. Well, she ain't linger around. She came to my sister's house and we came outside the apartment. We were arguing. And when I go in the house, I went in the house. Somebody said the police knocked on the door, and they said something about they got a call about a domestic. And I was really lost. And that's when I got in the back seat. They put me in the back seat of the car. And I guess that's when they showed me what she said. They told me what she said. And then I was like, nah, I ain't hit her. I ain't do none of that. Then before you know it, they took me to jail.
Okay. How do you think she got that bruising on her face?
She got I found this out later after the fact about her son hitting her later on earlier that day. I ain't know nothing about that. She ain't had no bruise on her face when I seen her. Well, while
Okay,
I was with her.
are you still with her?
Yes, sir.
So you still with her?
Yes,
I
sir.
know she's trying to change her story now, but I mean, like I say, we got film, you know, and she claimed she was laying on the horn and you punched her. Now, I just need to know, did you put your hands on her?
No, sir. I really don't believe in putting my hands on female. And I ain't just trying to say it like this, but I'm really like a handsome guy. I don't feel like I gotta go through that with females to, to keep a female around and all that extra stuff to do that. I wasn't raised that way.
Okay. All right, I do have to put in on the record on August 7th, 2024, the charge of simple battery of a dating partner was null pros by the city of Shreveport District Attorney's Office. So the charge has been null pros. Anything else you have to say for yourself?
I'm just ready to go home and get back to my little girl.
Okay. Were you drunk or high that day?
No, sir.
Okay, did you spend the night at her house before y'all came and she was dropping you off?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because you said she came to your apartment.
Yeah, because that's what she was drop. Oh.
Okay, but who explain it to me, because
Oh, yeah, because she was
came to
dropping
your
me.
apartment, dropped you off, y'all got in that fight, and then you went inside your apartment.
Nah, it
That's
wasn't
what I
never.
saw.
It wasn't never a fight. I stayed with her that night, and when we got to the apartment in the morning time, we were still arguing because we had been arguing that night because she went through my phone. And in the midst of me going in the house, I was in there getting my work clothes ready because that's where my clothes at. And I'm finna get ready and go to work. And the police literally knocked on the door and said, "Who you is?" When I come outside, they walked me to her and she was like,
Yeah, I
"Yeah, that's
saw
him."
that. I got that. I saw him handcuffed you and I saw you talking to him. Last but not least, where did you work?
At a mirror, I had a lawn. I used to cut grass, but I wasn't getting paid that much. So I really had found this job at this Mirror Shine car wash.
Are they gonna hire you back if you don't get revoked today?
Yes, sir. I've been having my sister call every day, and they say they just waiting on me because they understand like things happen, and this was a whole misunderstanding.
Okay, do any of my colleagues have any questions?
I don't.
I don't have any question. No, I don't have any questions. I don't necessarily believe him, but I don't have any questions. What about the money? How come you hadn't paid the money back?
Man, when it comes to the paying part, ain't nobody just letting you stay in their house for free. So by me getting paid $150 almost every week from the cutting grass service, because I just started at the Mirashine, but I probably been working there like a week and a half. I ain't even get that paycheck yet. So with that, I gotta pay the people where I'm staying. Then I gotta pay half of the daycare for my little girl, and they want that every week. That's $150 every week. So when it comes to that, it was hard for me. It was kind of hard. Then like I was saying, ain't nobody just letting you stay for free.
Handsome as you are, they'd let you stay for free.
Nah, I ain't that handsome. I ain't that handsome.
All right.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Davis, this is one of those cases that's hard on us. And I have to vote first because you're going back around her. And I'm kind of like Mr. Prater, I don't totally believe you. I think y'all had more than just a little argument. I saw the camera pointing to her face. I didn't see no busted up, no black eyes, anything, but they said she was swelling. Okay, my vote today is going to be, how long you been in jail?
60 days.
And how much longer you got on supervision?
My full term date is 2027.
2027?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, my vote today is going to be to not revoke you, but add the condition that you go to a anger management class, okay? They'll have that. Your street report officer will tell you where to go. They got a day reporting center, one of the best we have, right there at Shreveport. So you can go to that class, but you better complete that class. And I suggest that you and her go to counseling, because this relationship isn't gonna last like this. Okay, y'all were dating 2 months and you claim you didn't even know she had an autistic child. So I mean, that's you know.
Look, I ain't gonna lie. By us we only been together like 2 months, and I used to only really go over there at nighttime. I ain't.
Okay, all right. But anyway, that's my vote today. All right, Mr. Prater?
How old is that autistic child? I know we're through with questions, but I just want to know that. How old is that child?
3
years.
according to the report.
3 years up. Yes, sir.
Okay, I just watched, and I don't believe what you're saying. I don't believe that I think she was domestically abused. I really do. My vote is to revoke.
Okay, Ms. Renatza?
Mr. Davis, my vote today also is to revoke. I'd also believe that even though she recanted, that there was something that occurred, domestic abuse. So my vote today is to revoke.
Okay, Mr. Davis, your parole has been revoked by a vote of 2-1. Good luck to you, sir. We have any more cases left? Okay, we'll be signing out of Caddo at 9:21.
I'll say hi to my friends at Caddo before you leave.
Wow.
Okay, so they didn't buy it, and I just love the sense of humor of the sheriff. It's like, well, if you're so handsome, why didn't you get the rent for free? It's so funny. How funny were they just all as a parole board going off and this, jiving with this? But he's got a long record of DV. Richard pulled up in his record. I can see here. Let's see. He has on the spreadsheet that I'm checking. So he has October 29, 2019. He has DV second degree battery. And then he has also April 18, 2019, DV second degree battery. So I don't know. He's such a handsome guy. Why it is that he still does have all this stuff in his jacket. But it's funny. I just wonder, does he actually believe that that's like a good strategy? That's, we've seen it all. We see everything. We see every type of thing. But I'm handsome. I don't need to do this. So, oh, come on. And it's just the classic thing. Now I know that his full term date is 2027. So he's got a few more years, and maybe we'll see him again. And if we do, we'll play it on the Return of channel playlist. Make sure you check that playlist out. And as you saw before, I messed up by saying this is a scary case. And that's because I screwed up in the spreadsheet I have. I by mistake looked at the wrong facts. It's not the scary case that I'm referring to. And maybe I can bring that to you a little bit later. But we have another revocation hearing to jump into, and it's just as wild in its own way. So let's just go.
Oof. Because she was hitting herself, and I held her down and I calmed her and I loved her and kissed her and put her to bed and held her.
Yeah, if we had a turtle for every time someone said that, we would have a lot of turtles. Let's see if the parole board buys into his excuse. Let's jump in.
Okay, you have been alleged to violated condition number 2 by absconding supervision. You failed to submit monthly report or report as directed. How do you plead to that charge?
I plead guilty.
Okay, condition number 4, you were arrested on 12/21/2023 for false imprisonment, domestic abuse battery, parole violation. You pled guilty to the amended charge of disturbing the peace, and you were sentenced by the court is time served. How do you plead to that charge?
I plead guilty to disturbing the peace, not to the domestic or the false imprisonment.
Okay. Number 7, once again, by absconding supervisions, you made it impossible for your parole officer to see you. How do you plead to that one?
I plead guilty, sir.
And number 9 is along the same line, by absconding supervision, you prevented visits and searches by your parole officer. How you plead to that?
I plead guilty.
And number 10, you were arrears on supervision fees of $1,386. How do you plead to that?
I plead guilty, sir.
Okay. As I stated, your case was assigned to me. Mr. Stewart, first, we will hear from your fiance. State your name and relationship to the subject.
My name is, and I'm his fiance. We were supposed to be married on January 1st.
Okay. And what do you have to tell us?
Sir, this charge is from some fault. And he's just such a good man, and I really need him home. Because I have a lot of problems going on. And I have no one else. And he's the only person I want. And he didn't do any of that to me. I swear to you, I swear on the Bible.
Okay, now, Ms. Brett, remember, we got all kind of taped evidence with you on it. Ma'am?
I'll make payments on the $1,380.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the domestic abuse battery. I looked at 4 different tapes. There was a confrontation between you two.
I have flashbacks. I have a lot of mental problems. I really do.
Okay,
I was abused my whole life.
all right. So you saying he didn't do it? Okay,
No, sir.
all right. Thank you. We appreciate it. Y'all have any questions for Ms.?
No.
I don't.
Okay, thank you, Ms. All right, I'm gonna move on to Mr. Stewart. Okay, Mr. Stewart, tell me what happened, and I'm gonna tell you the same thing. I've looked at these tapes. I've spent hours looking at these tapes. So you need to tell me the truth, what went down.
Sir, that's all I'm coming from the heart, and I'm telling you exactly what's happening. My woman, when I first met her, she was like a cow dog, and it's the only way to explain it. You get close to her and she would jerk and cow down. That's our initial, how I met my fiance. She's been abused, I've learned. We were together a year. The police reports are twisted, and I am going to say that I held her down. Police were called 2 days running. My roommate gave her, she was on Klonopin, and he bought her 8 Klonopins. He gave her 4 one day and 2 methadone pills. And I didn't know it at the time. I've learned about the combination, but I couldn't embrace my wife. I couldn't hold her. She would yank away from me. And I don't even know how to explain it. At the time, the night in question, at that night, this is the second day she'd had 8 2-milligram Klonopins and 40 milligrams of methadone in her system. Okay. And I could not hold her. She would yank away. She's having not seizures, but she was a different person. And my roommate, he seen me hold her down. That's how the false imprisonment came in, because she was hitting herself. And I held her down and I calmed her and I loved her and kissed her and put her to bed and held her. The next day, the second day of one of the police reports, yes, we argued. I didn't understand it. And I argued about the way she was acting and I didn't understand. And I don't believe was coming from her not, I think she was flashbacking on her abuse. Her dad's raped her, brothers, her last 3 old men have knocked her teeth out and beat her up. And that, the drug combination, I don't understand. I've read the police reports myself, and I don't have an explanation for that night. Only the drugs is all I can say, sir.
Okay, let's move forward, because I'm gonna ask you some specific questions about
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir.
Did you run from the police?
I did. I
Police went back in your trail, and when they come back, you were trying to sneak out the back door again.
There were police there, and I closed the door, and I knew I had a warrant for my arrest, sir. I knew it, and the only way I don't have an explanation for that except that I made a terrible mistake for absconding.
All right, let's move on to the second thing. Did you and David fight?
Yes, we did.
Pulled you off over and y'all got in a fight?
No, that is untrue. He didn't pull me off. I cuddled her and snuggled her the night before, but he did bust in the room that night, the second night in question. He busted in the door, and I knew he had called the cops on me. I knew he did the day before. He called the law on me, and I reacted and pushed him away from me. And that's what freaked my girl out even more. It freaked her out. She ran out the room, and the altercation was over. He bust in our bedroom door. We're in his trailer.
Okay.
At midnight.
Okay, that was the fight. All right, y'all went outside, y'all argued, correct?
Yeah, she ran to the street, and it's midnight, sir. Yes, sir. It's midnight.
And y'all arguing, and you grabbed
I tried to get. Yes, sir. I tried to get her out the street. The police came up, the female officer, and I had my arms around her, and I was trying to cuddle her. She was resisting. She was. And sir, I promise you, I swear before God, I've never in my life hit a woman, and I never will.
Were you intoxicated that night?
No, sir.
Come on now, watch the tape.
I was not intoxicated.
Wow. No. Okay. Well, in the body camera, the police state that you were drunk as Cooter Brown, and you wasn't walking too good, and you wasn't talking too good. So, but I guess that was just the way you are. So you wasn't drinking.
No, sir.
Did you ever slap her?
No, sir. I've explained that away, right? It's at midnight where she's in the street on Hinton. It's about 15 feet away from the first trailer. I'm trying to embrace her, and she is yanking away from me. She is bending over and yanking away. And I'm telling her, trying to calm her, it's okay, honey, it's okay. Come back, it's the drugs that she's on. I was with her for a year, sir. The police reports say that it was 6 days. We've slept together for a year. We went homeless together. And we jumped around to 4 or 5 different addresses.
Correct.
I've dealt with her being overindulged on her medication a couple times, and she's never reacted like she did this night. She never reacted.
Okay, I have no further questions. Do either of my colleagues have any questions?
I have a question. There was another residence in the trailer park, or actually there was, I think at least 2 people who said they witnessed you slap her in the face.
Right.
Ma'am, that is the trailer. That is the first trailer to where she is in the street, and I'm reaching. She is bending over and resisting everything from me, like I am her tormentor. Ma'am, I've never been her tormentor, ever in my life. I love her more than life. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. She is.
Why would they say you hit her in the face?
Because when I may have hit her, not meaning to, by
4 times.
to grab her, and she is yanking away from me. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to embrace her, and she is yanking away from me. She is, and I don't understand it. I really don't. I've never done anything harmful ever. I love her. I love her unconditionally. And she that night was not Julie Michelle Brett. She was not. She was.
That's all. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, well, they tell them they can't start till we finish this here. Okay. All right, Mr. Prater, you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, is the panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
My screen went away here. Okay, Mr. Stewart, I find you in violation of condition number 2, 4, 7, 9, and 10. You pled guilty to 4 of them. As I say, I watched the tape, and I don't know, you and her both like to talk about swearing before God and stuff, but in my opinion, something went down, and something happened. So my vote today is to revoke. Wait, let us finish vote. Ms. Renatza?
I also find him guilty of the violations. My vote today is to revoke.
Mr. Prater?
I concur. 2, 4, 7, 9, and 10 revoke.
Okay, your parole has been revoked today. We'll be signing out of Washington.
Y'all have a good day.
Okay, we have one more hearing.
My goodness, I didn't get a chance.
And that's where the hot mic ended. And you know, you can't make this stuff up. We see it over and over and over again. And I feel so poorly, of course, for his victim in this case. And in my opinion, you can tell he sees someone who he can who is in the position that he can manipulate, and he's trying the best that he can do it, and thankfully law enforcement is doing what it needs to do. You know, they start pulling out the evidence. The parole board did it very, very tactfully, right? They have information, they're keeping it in. He doesn't know what they have, and he said, well, what about the witnesses that saw it? And he's like, oh no, well, maybe they just saw. I was trying to help. I'm holding her down. It's all, you know, she's so damaged. It's me. I'm such a good guy. It's like, shut up. I don't know what he's originally in for. We don't have that info Sir Richard has here in the spreadsheet. You know, he was arrested December 1, 2023 for DV. I don't know if that is the same DV or not. I think that is a different one. This one's for false imprisonment. It's you know, Louisiana, it's awful, but they're just one of the worst states. I'm looking at a report here from April 16, 2024 from Axios. They're saying that DV against women has cost Louisiana $10 billion with a B dollars. How in 1 year, how that's possible? I mean, I don't know. Dollars just aren't dollars anymore. The whole, I don't, whenever they say, oh yeah, it costs like, we put a new escalator in this place. It was like $48 million. I mean, okay, that's a whole different, I could have a YouTube show just let's stay on topic. So, but it says the figure that the first ever in state, why it matters. The figure is the first ever in the state and the only second nationwide to put tangible number on the cost of intimate partner DV against women, the reporting says. The big picture, it's not a good time to be female in Louisiana. That's what this says. I'm just reading it to you because the whole screen sharing thing. Louisiana performed below average for all 12 indicators, including the U.S. Women Peace and Security Index, ranked the worst overall in justice dimension, the report says. This is an Axios report. If If you want to Google it, type in DV Louisiana Axios. More than half of the state's men believe women should stay at home, and Louisiana is a home to the high few legal protections. By the numbers, the $10.1 billion total cost of intimate partner violence combines estimated expenses for medical, lost earnings, criminal justice, and survivor response programs. Frankly, I see this number and I'm just like, maybe you should reduce the cost of all these things. But okay. Medical costs made up the biggest portion of $8.7 billion. The smallest portion was survivor support at $15 million. Survivor support, the smallest part, $15 million. Now, it's about 3.5% of Louisiana's GDP. I hope people realize the cost of not doing prevention is far greater than the cost of prevention. That's their takeaway. You know, you got to always look at who wrote these studies and designed them and what their agenda is. I'm sure it's probably some type of program to prevent DV, and they're going to lobby legislation to get more money. And that's probably what this is. So, you know, look at it with a grain of salt, how they come up with these numbers. I am super skeptical. Any type of study and report, the first thing that I want to do before I read it is I want to know who paid for it. And if there's some group there, then who is that group involved with? And let's get down to the nitty gritty of where the money's coming from. And then only then would I actually care to read a report. So I am sorry for wasting your time on this. But it says that meanwhile, 1 in 16 Louisiana adults reported experiencing intimate partner violence within the past year, according to a new edition of the Louisiana Violence Experience Survey. So that's probably more independent. It's high. It's high. I've seen, there was one quote that I think Ms. Stapleton said, correct me if I'm wrong, that Louisiana is the highest ranking state for DV, or the second highest. I know Cajun Overcomer has info on this. If you want to put the comment, I'll pin it. But it's bad. And I don't know why, but anyways.
Okay, maybe I'm just dim-witted this morning. When the police originally came,
Yes.
and she showed them her injuries, that was what.
It was like that at that point in time, not to cut you off, at that point in time, it was like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And whenever they showed back up and tried to arrest me, it was later in the afternoon, probably about 4 something, 3 something, 4 something in the afternoon, the same afternoon. And that's when I ran.
Okay. You didn't run that night.
No, I just went behind the house because I was out there talking to the neighbor and she said, "Babe, the police are coming down the street. Go hide." So I just went behind the house.
Another day, another revocation hearing in Louisiana. And guess what his excuse is when the police come and see her bruised up? Take a guess before we listen to it. Anyways, I'll unpack it with the details.
Yes, sir. Mr. Walker, good morning.
Good morning.
We'll make it short and simple as you need to, but I want to be clear. The domestic abuse battery, there were injuries to the lady that you're supposed to have abused. There was a bruising around both eyes, a cut lip, some blood, and some swelling. Does all that, how did she get that?
She beat up herself.
Okay. She beat up herself.
Yes, sir. And in my arrest report, she told them that I never touched her or anything like this. She didn't want me to get in trouble. And she told them like he didn't do me anything, like he never touched me and none of that. Like I did this to myself. The wounds were self-inflicted. She has bipolar issues and she does it often. And she came here, even to the courts here, got everything dismissed. She had to pay $125. They were gonna dismiss all the charges, but I have the hold for parole, and they wanted me to speak with you guys first to find out what you guys were gonna do, because everything's gonna be dismissed if you guys dismiss the hold. And she had,
excuse me, go ahead.
I have to take a anger management class, and she also has to take the class because the judge told her if she has anger problems like that, I'm in jail for nothing. She has to take the class, and if she doesn't graduate the class, I have to come back into jail until she graduates.
Okay, I'm not sure that. Okay. All right, now let's get into the critical part. Why did you run?
I don't know, just nervous and didn't want to be in trouble for something that I didn't do. But as I was running, I thought about it and I sat down in the nearby parking lot where they called me. I sat down and waited for them to get there and arrest me because I work my ass off, excuse my language. I work 84 hours a week. I know they know where my job's at and everything. My parole officer, I'm very active with my parole officer. If I'm afraid something's gonna happen or I talk to him about it, and I try to do everything I can to stay out of trouble. So I just thought it to myself and I sat down and waited, said get it over with. If you didn't do nothing, there's no reason you should be running. You're not gonna get in trouble. I just knew I was wrong for running, so I just waited for him to get there and arrest me.
When did the victim, when did she tell the officers that she did it to herself?
I was downstairs talking to the neighbor and there was a cop car coming down the street. She told me the cops were coming to run. And when they got there, that's when she told them, whenever they did the report and everything. And the next day I was there working on my truck because I was getting ready to go back to work. I was gonna be gone for another week or so at work and my truck was shut down. And they showed up while I was working on my truck and they arrested me. Because that's my daughter's mom, and I pay all her bills and I take care of her and the baby so that I can see my daughter because I'm not on the birth certificate.
Okay, so when you were working on your truck, they arrested you for
Domestic, yes, sir. They said I had a warrant. The judge signed off on a warrant or something for the domestic, and they had to take me in.
So they didn't take you in the night you ran from them?
No, I didn't even. Someone had called the police because she was outside screaming at me and stuff like that, and they were coming there to see what was going on.
So
And
you jumped from
the next morning is when they came to arrest me.
Okay, so they let you go after you ran from them, and then you stopped running from them. They caught you. They let you go that night. They went the next.
No, sir. That night, I just went behind the house and stood behind the house because we thought they were coming down the street because she was outside screaming and hollering at me. And like I told you, she said she didn't want me to get in trouble because she beat up herself and she knew they would blame it on me. So the next morning, whenever they came, they were coming to serve her some paperwork and let her know that the warrant had been filed for my arrest, and I was there. I was out there working on my truck. That's when I ran from them, and I sat down and let them arrest me.
Okay, maybe I'm just dim-witted this morning. When the police originally came,
yes,
and she showed them her injuries, that was what.
It was like that at that point in time, not to cut you off, at that point in time, it was like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And whenever they showed back up and tried to arrest me, it was later in the afternoon, probably about 4 something, 3 something, 4 something in the afternoon, the same afternoon. And that's when I ran.
Okay. You didn't run that night?
No, I just went behind the house because I was out there talking to the neighbor and she said, babe, the police are coming down the street. Go hide. So I just went behind the house.
Okay. And then when they came back with the warrant, you ran then too?
Yes, sir. And that's when I sat at the nearby parking lot and I waited for him to get there to arrest me.
And when did someone called the police?
Yes, sir.
The police come that early that morning.
Yes, sir.
He tells the police that you beat her up.
No,
right?
She didn't tell him I beat him up.
She never said that.
She never said that. She said these wounds are self-inflicted. He did not touch me. I do not want him arrested. He didn't do me anything. But the judge filed for a warrant to pick me up just in case. And like she even come to one of my court dates, paid $125 to get the charges dismissed. She told the judge that I never touched her. The wounds were self-inflicted. That's why she also has to take an anger management class. And I'm just waiting to see what you guys are gonna do with me before. They said if you guys let me go and release the hold, then they're gonna dismiss my charges upon completion of the class.
It's kind of unusual. I'm gonna ask, that's all the questions I have. I'm not completely clear, and I'm gonna yield to my other board members to see if I was under the impression she at one time told the police that you had hit her. This is an unusual situation when police get called And she said, no, he didn't do this. I did it to myself.
All she said was that I shoved her. But I told like told my parole officer, whenever she was flipping out and hitting on herself, she started hitting me. And I done like this. And my hand brushed up against her lip. That's all. I never done like this because when I come to jail, I had bite marks on my hand from when I put my hand up. She bit me on my thumb. I was bleeding on the thumb and my eye was swollen from her hitting me. And my arresting officer and the correctional officer that was working that day tried to get me to press charges on her. And I told them no, because she's the mother of my child and my daughter would be without two parents. And I didn't want my daughter to be without two parents. She would at least have one of her parents. If we were both in jail, then she doesn't have a parent.
Sometimes, Grant, things are 51%, 49%. They're not necessarily 100% either way.
Yes, sir.
And so that's our job. We got to decide what percentage is believable. And that's all the questions I got.
Yes, sir.
I got a question for you. I'm a little confused as Mr. Prater is, because I'm reading from the arrest report and it says that they went to pick you up for the same verbal complaint that they were on there earlier, at which time Officer Doan told Grant he was under arrest and attempted to grab his hands to place him in handcuffs. Grant immediately pulled away and jumped from the second floor to the first floor. You're saying you were by the truck. They're saying you was on the second floor.
So whenever they came, I was downstairs by my truck. He didn't just directly stop by the house. He passed by the house. So when he passed by the house, I went upstairs and I went inside. And then he looped around and come back to the house. And then I was standing on the balcony at that point in time. And he was originally there just to serve her paperwork.
Okay, so you did jump from the
Yes,
second
sir.
floor.
That's why I did plead guilty.
But I mean, you didn't tell us none of that. I mean, you told they arrested you by the truck, you ran and you sat down.
No, I said they arrested me in the nearby parking lot.
Right.
Whenever I ran. That's why I said resisting, because I am guilty of resisting. I did one.
Right. Okay, I got you. Okay, Ms. Renat, do you have any questions?
No, I was going to ask about jumping from the second floor too, because it conflicted with what he said earlier. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Do you understand now?
Yes, we got, okay, is the panel ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Prater?
This is very confusing, and 51% of me says that you're not telling us the full story. And so my vote is revoked.
Mr. Knotson?
I also, Mr. Walker, I think you talked yourself into this. My vote today also is to revoke.
Myself, there's just too much conflicting here. So my vote is to revoke. Your parole has been revoked by a vote of 3-0. Good luck to you.
Question.
We'll be signing out of Morgan City Jail.
I have a question. I knew they were gonna do that.
You find out. Sorry.
Okay, I mean, let's be real. He didn't stand a chance. How many times have we heard that excuse? She beat herself up. It would be funny if it wasn't so serious. You know, I should make a montage of these parole revocation hearings, and it's like the same. When you have no excuse, what else can you say? It's the proverbial, my dog ate my homework. It's laughable. And they're like, yo, you talked yourself into revocation. And I don't know. The only way he might have had a fighting chance was if he had had a quality attorney that did not allow him to talk. And then the attorney, even then, there's no shot. There's nothing. He had nothing. Sorry, no. And so what's he was sentenced in 2018 for a 2017 crime to 8 years. So how much time is he backing? It depends on how much time you serve. But basically what happened was on April 23rd, 2018, deputies office made contact with Grant Walker. Actually, so this happened in 2018. He was sentenced 2019, okay, to a medical related issue. While speaking to Walker near the doorway of the residence, deputy observed a shotgun. So they're there for something else, but they see a shotgun in plain view. Deputies removed the firearm for officer safety. While removing the firearm, deputies detected the odor of the devil's lettuce emitting from the residence. Agents advised Walker that they would be applying for a search warrant to search for the residence. Walker told agents they did not need a warrant and gave consent to search the interior of the residence. Now, if that's not the dumbest thing that he could have done, now was he on parole? Because then they could have, they could have just ID'd him and gotten in without a warrant if that was his residence, because that's what they're allowed to do if you're on parole. But while searching the residence, the agents located a variety of narcotics, including a small amount of Pepsi Cola. While at Walker's residence, deputies learned that Walker had a previous felony conviction for second-degree battery. Upon completion of the search, Walker was placed under arrest and transported to the detention center. Upon entering a guilty plea to the above-mentioned charges, pursuant to the plea agreement with prosecutors, the defendant was sentenced to 8 years. So, why would you allow police into your home? It's like you're thinking, wow, no, I'm going to play it smooth. You don't need a search warrant. I got nothing to hide. But no, you say, I'm sorry. And it all started with someone calling for a...
So how in the world would she get you mixed up with somebody else?
I have a twin brother.
You have a twin brother?
Yeah.
Oh. So why didn't you tell them so they could go pick him up? That would have been a quick fix.
I did when I was in court. I was in court, but see
I think I would have done it when they were putting the click handcuffs on me. It's not me, it's my twin brother.
We're about to watch a parole revocation hearing out of Louisiana. So he was out on parole, he violated, and now he's at risk of getting sent back to prison to serve out the remainder of his sentence. We've seen hundreds of these hearings, but we have never seen someone say that it wasn't me, it was my twin brother. And I love the way that Miss Carol Stapleton handles this case. Let's jump in and I'll unpack it.
Your case?
Yeah.
Tell us what happened.
It was a misunderstanding. Like I don't like she a friend. I know her, but she was dating somebody else, and she gave like the wrong name. I never harmed her or did nothing to her, so they had dropped my charges for disturbing the peace.
You didn't have any contact with her or any altercation?
Oh, no, sir.
Okay. There was no violence or no scuffling or anything?
No, sir.
I see. And that's all you want to say about it?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to ask my colleagues if they have any questions. Ms. Stapleton, do you have any questions?
Yes, sir, I do. When I read the police report, the police came there and they could see that her face was bleeding. And they asked her what happened. And when she explained to them that you bit her on the face. So how in the world would she get you mixed up with somebody else?
I have a twin brother.
You have a twin brother?
Yeah.
Oh. So why didn't you tell them so they could go pick him up? That would have been a quick fix.
I did when I was in court. I was in court, but see
I think I would have done it when they were putting the click handcuffs on me. It's not me, it's my twin brother.
If they see his name Covell and my name Dovell, I don't think she really knew our real names.
But you did.
Yeah, I told him I was Dovell, but that's the name she gave him. It's
You didn't tell him it was your twin brother?
I mean, yeah, I told him I didn't date her like he was, but it wasn't nothing I can do. I was still going to jail. Like, so
So you just took it and went.
yeah, I was hoping I had beat it in court. And I watched.
Yeah. But you were the one that was on parole, right? Was your brother on parole too?
I don't know. I don't know if he on parole or not. I know I'm on parole.
Yeah, so you had a lot more to lose to go to
Yeah.
jail, didn't you?
That's why I wouldn't do none of that.
I think I'd have squealed on him on something like that.
Hey, I don't really be big on trying to get in trouble on parole. I was paying. I was trying to walk it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, like I said, they saw that she that her face was bleeding, and she said that you bit her in the face, and so that there was a verbal altercation. There was an argument, and I don't know how in the world she'd have gotten you mixed up with your twin brother and why you didn't let him know it was him. But that's my only question. So I'm finished.
Mr. Prater, you have any questions?
Sir.
You don't?
No.
Okay. I read your case and you have an identical twin brother?
Yes, sir. I think she had wrote a statement. I don't know if y'all had got it. She had a statement in court, but we identical. Like y'all wouldn't know us apart.
He has a beard too?
Yeah.
And he has a beard. And she was dating him?
Yeah.
Okay, I have no more questions.
We got the same mark tats on our face and everything.
I got you. Same teeth and everything.
Yeah,
Gold.
he got one goal in his mouth too.
I got you. I got you. I have no more questions. Is the panel ready to vote?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, since I'm handling the case, I'm gonna vote first, and my vote is to deny. And I'm sorry, to revoke. My vote is to revoke. Mr. Prater?
Yes, I believe the same. I'm gonna concur with your vote. Revoke.
Ms. Staples?
And I concur to revoke.
Okay. Mr. Davis, your request has been revoked. Your revocation has been revoked, and this will conclude our business with you today. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, I mean, let's be real. This was probably one of the funniest parole revocation hearings we've seen. And, to his credit, he wasn't even taking himself seriously. He's cracking up. He couldn't keep his face straight. And Miss Stapleton, the faces she was making there, it was classic. I mean, even Mr. Tillis got in on the action about the tattoos. And it was funny. I mean, we have seen it all. And I guess he just said, look, I know I don't have a shot at this, so I'm just gonna go in with it. It's my twin brother. And Richard provided some information. I tell you, I did do some looking out. I was hoping we'd find his twin brother. I wanted to see him, but couldn't find anyone that looked like him with the same name. So maybe he's just, the only one that keeps getting in trouble. And in trouble he does keep getting into. I mean, this one is just most wanted, finally caught, right? This is back in 2018, 2007. I don't know, not such a big crime, was like stealing checks. Here's another one where this was actually quite intense because him and his buddies escaped prison. 5 escaped prison. This is 2010. And here he is. I was hoping we'd see his twin brother in here as well, but we didn't. And it said the last of 5 inmates who escaped the Point Detention Center turned himself in Thursday evening. Authorities reported that he surrendered at 7:30 p.m. Deputies said he found 4 others who left a work release program. So, and according to the sheriff, in addition to Brissy, Justin Johnson, Lyndon, Terry, blah, 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 the 4 men turned themselves into the U.S. Marshals in Baton Rouge after sunrise. I mean, can you imagine being given the gift of work release and having like zero impulse control, where you would just get up and walk away from that. You're given a gift of work release and you walk away, you escape. That's insanity. And that so many of them would think that that's a good idea and do it together just so they can turn themselves in. And these aren't little kids. You're talking about, late 20s, 30s. Like, wow. It sends the message about, if you cannot have impulse control to do things in your own best interest, then you're a danger to society. The four men turned themselves into U.S. Marshals in Baton Rouge just after sunrise. He said that Torres said work release is offered to nonviolent criminals who qualify in the final 3 years of their sentence. He added that the men left to the dormitory-style room and jumped the fence. His office is still investigating the accident. This is a minor setback, but I think the people of Louisiana need to understand this program is a statewide program and it does work. We often see people like with DUI cases in the work release programs, and we have seen people on work release that make more than $160K a year. Now they're often in the oil jobs offshore on the boats, but yeah, we have seen that. Now they do have to pay for their room and board when they're making that kind of money. So there's, they're and it's not cheap, but they are putting a lot of money away. And then here's did we look at this one already? Okay. Here's another one. This is 2018. Suspect arrested facing multiple charges of drug bust. And I wonder if this is his twin brother. It's possible. But the arrest came after, anyways, but it was it was a revocation worth hearing. Thank you, Richard, for pointing it out and saying, Mandy, you have to cover this one because that is good. And I'm thinking of putting together a highlight reel of Miss Stapleton mic drops because she is just something. And with that,
Yes, ma'am. I'm just here supporting my husband. When it did happen, some things I did lie about. He was trying to leave the house when we got like in a little argument, but I didn't want him to leave. So I did call the police and I lied about him doing the things that he did.
Okay, so let me ask you something, Brittany. Did you go to the hospital that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a broken arm?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what part of your statement did you lie?
What happened was I called them first, and from there, that's when it got a little hectic by me lying on him. That triggered him.
Okay, so if he didn't do anything to you, why did you shoot him?
I don't know, ma'am. I don't know. He came in through the window, so I just shot him.
well, we haven't heard this before. We are about to watch one of the wackier parole revocation hearings out of Louisiana. Hey, let's just jump in.
There's a parole revocation question that big.
Right, so it says that you can read and write and you're speaking on your own behalf.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you did not hire an attorney. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the alleged violations, and I'm going to ask you to enter a plea of guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement. If you have a statement, you can hold that until I request that. So you violated condition number 4. On May 16, 2024, you engaged in criminal activity when you committed the crime of domestic abuse battery, child endangerment, and domestic abuse aggravated assault, which led to your arrest by the New Orleans Police Department. How do you plead on that?
Not guilty.
And violation number 10, you failed to make any payments toward your supervision fees, and you were $693 in arrears as of May.
Not guilty with a statement.
Okay. Mr. Daniels, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then my colleagues may have some questions for you. But before we do that, I noticed that Brittany Daniels, your wife, is in attendance at the hearing and would like to speak in your support. So we'll go ahead and let her do that at this time. You're on mute, I believe.
Yes, ma'am. I'm just here supporting my husband. When it did happen, some things I did lie about. He was trying to leave the house when we got like in a little argument, but I didn't want him to leave. So I did call the police and I lied about him doing the things that he did.
Okay, so let me ask you something, Brittany. Did you go to the hospital that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a broken arm?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what part of your statement did you lie?
What happened was I called them first, and from there, that's when it got a little hectic by me lying on him. That triggered him.
Okay, so if he didn't do anything to you, why did you shoot him?
I don't know, ma'am. I don't know. He came in through the window, so I just shot him.
Well, thank you for your statements.
I got a question.
If Mr. Barra wants to ask a question.
Yeah, do you have any fear of him?
No, sir.
So you would not be worried to have him back around you again?
No, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Tillman?
No.
Okay, we'll go back to Mr. Daniels. Mr. Daniels, I want you to note for the record that both you and your wife went to the hospital. She had severe injury and you had a gunshot wound. The charges were refused. However, the court initiated a protective order.
Yes,
Why would they do that if you're not a threat to your wife?
it was just saying it was gone by the rules or something like that. Like that's something that everybody gets when they catch a domestic or something like that, just to protect the victim.
Right.
So it was just like a normal procedure.
Okay, so what is your statement? So you say you're not guilty because they found you not guilty in court. Is that why you're saying you're not guilty of that, of causing those injuries?
That's right.
That's based on the fact that they dropped charges. Okay, what is your statement for the number 10?
See, by me doing a lot of time in my previous years, I normally like just come home and just get whatever job I go on and get. But I ended up doing 8 years and from 2010 to 2018, and I had got trained like auto mechanics and carpentry. So when I had came home this time, I was really trying to put myself in a more career-oriented position. But I had filled out the multiple jobs and then phoned my career officer at the time. I saw the pictures and I had stuff like on Indeed where the job said, "We are very impressed with your resume, but at this time we would like to choose another candidate for the job." I guess that was concerning my previous charges or something like that.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You were released. Did you have a previous violation during this period of supervision?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that was for what?
Peewit,
For what?
Peewit, a marijuana charge.
So it was just marijuana, but that's why you got, sanction, jail sanction. So were you ever charged with those, for that crime?
No, man, they had to drive me down to the possession because it was just a cigar.
Okay, so you've already been sanctioned for. Okay, Mr. Daniels, Mr. Tillis, Rod, do y'all have any questions?
Yeah, I'd like to go back to number 4. How did your wife's arm get broke?
Oh, she went over and did.
What happened? Say again?
I
Sit
put,
up. Here, can you sit up? Because we can't see your mouth and it's hard to understand. Go ahead.
you got it out and I put it over and did.
You pushed her on the table and she broke her arm.
That's
Mr. Barrett, any questions?
Why were you going through the window at your own house?
because she had my phone and my money and I was in a dangerous neighborhood and she wanted me to walk. And I was like, I'm not gonna walk around with my phone and my money. I don't know if y'all know about one of the keys, guys who
Would you sit back from the speaker, please?
You need to sit
Yeah,
up and sit back. Don't lean
Can't
over.
understand what you're saying.
Don't lean over. Don't lean towards the computer. Sit back.
not out there, I don't know who's on the speaker. Y'all hear me now?
Not good.
Back
Not
up a
good.
little more.
Can't understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Closer.
I think it's echoing.
If you will sit up and sit back, push your chair back,
You hear me?
that's much better. Keep going.
I went to the window because I had my phone or my money. I was flipping,
If there's leader either this.
Try pushing your chair further back. The further back you get, the better you sound. Further back.
What about now?
Keep going back.
Keep going back.
Would you tell them that we need a better acoustics?
Look, knock on the door and get one of them guards in there.
In the
We are having a difficult time understanding the offender when he speaks because of the acoustic. Could you push his chair back and have him sit up so that we can understand better? Push him all the way back so we can understand better. Okay. Thank you. Now, why did you go through the window of your house? Ma'am, you can stay in the room, please.
Because
What?
I said I was trying to get my phone and my
Can you get his wife back on? Ask her.
Brittany,
I kept his phone and his money and stuff, so he was trying to come back in and get his stuff. He didn't want to take and leave without having his phone or his money or anything.
And you had locked him out, and that's why he had to come through the window?
Yes. Yeah.
you lock him out.
How did you get your arm broke? How did your arm become broken?
Because he pushed me
Pushed you pretty hard. You guys were kind of tussling,
Yeah,
and you still want him home?
yes, I do.
Well, Mr. Daniels, based on all the information that we've heard today, I think the panel is prepared to vote. I'm going to vote first. It is not, we do not have to find you not guilty based on the fact that the court did, because your wife recanted her story. We have evidence that there was physical abuse. And so my decision today is to revoke your parole based on you being guilty of number 4, that you harmed your wife while on parole. Mr. Tillis
I concur.
and Mr. Barra.
I concur.
So today, your parole has been revoked.
What does that mean? It been revoked?
I ain't coming home.
What?
I told you it's one of the wackiest things we've ever seen. And frankly, I think this was the best decision that could have happened for both of them. I mean, let's be real. I mean, what's the next worst step? She shot him and he broke her arm. What did we just hear? And the way it was said so nonchalantly, it's scary. It's like, yeah, I shot my husband climbing through the window, and he's, oh yeah, my arm broke. I fell on the table. And this was the easiest revocation we've ever seen. And yes, the best thing that ever could have happened for them. The way that it happened with the CEO coming in and ignoring the parole, leaving, and the sound, and I don't know, like, what did we just see? This might go down in the books as a classic. Now, normally, for those of you not familiar with this channel, we'd go through his records. We would have information of value to bring to the table more than just listening to me talk, because most of you don't care, and I get that. But there aren't records on him. I know that he was, what Richard has in the files here is that his parole was revoked for that violence, which included child endangerment. So I'm guessing their child was there, and he has a previous violation as well for the devil's lettuce. So it's not a big deal, right? And if you're curious about what a parole revocation means, so it means that he'd be backing his time, depending on how much time he has. Is depending on how long he'll be gone for, but oftentimes, you can still, let's say you're backing, we covered a parole revocation hearing with someone backing a life sentence. He'd gotten out, he's out less than a year, and he stole an Amazon package off of his neighbor's front porch, and he got revoked for that. So he will be allowed to apply for parole after a certain amount of time. It's not like he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison, but it is that intense. So parole revocations will require 2 or 3 panel members on the committee of the board. If the number of members present exceeds 3 members, it goes by the majority. Sometimes they have 4 or 5 members, depending on the day, what they're doing, if they're doing commutation hearings, etc. When the parolee has been revoked, the committee of violation and condition of parole, the parolee shall be returned to his physical custody, Department of Public Safety and Corrections Services, and serve the remainder of his sentence as of the date of his release on parole, and any credit for time served for good behavior while on parole. The parolee shall be given credit for time served prior to the revocation hearing for time served in actual custody while being held on parole. Sometimes they're held for a year before having revocation hearings. We've seen that. Violation in a local detention facility, state institute, blah, blah, blah. Any such prisoner who has parole has been revoked may be considered for re-parolee in accordance with the provisional part. And here they go through all the different sorts of technical violations, etc., etc. And it's quite interesting to go through this stuff. But anyways, man, like I said, some of the craziest hearings. If you want to see more parole revocation hearings, there's a playlist called Parole Revocations down below. And with that, I'll let you go.
Hey, maybe I'm just dim-witted this morning.
Come on now, watch the tape.
I was not intoxicated.
Wow. Okay. Well, in the body camera, the police state that you were drunk as Cooter Brown and you wasn't walking too good and you wasn't talking too good.
No, sir. I really don't believe in putting my hands on female. And I ain't just trying to say it like this, but I'm really like a handsome guy. I don't feel like I gotta go through that with females to keep a female around and all that extra stuff to do that. I wasn't raised that way.
Okay.
Handsome as you are, they'd let you stay for free.
Nah, I ain't that handsome. I ain't that handsome.